It's live.
Preparing live stream. Okay. Well, in that case, I will share the video here.
No sound with the intro, but
Nope.
No.
Crud.
I don't have that muted.
In which case, I will start that over. Oh, God. I tell you, sometimes, you do a week away from this, and what happens? You forget that you need to share computer sound. So we'll do it again. Here we go. And good evening, everybody. It's Steve Sandy here for Apple World Today, and I'm joined today by Marty Edwards and Mr. Dennis Sellers. How are you guys doing?
Hey, doing great.
I think everybody survived the 2.5 hour almost live stream today. So
Yeah, I'm tired, but I'm good. So.
I was prepared before it started. I brought in 2 glasses of ice water, a plate with some cheese, and fig Newtons. I was ready.
And you went to the bathroom before the start of the thing. Me too.
Didn't have to get up once.
Well, I had to laugh because one of the, I don't know what you want to call him, one of the bigger pundits out there tweeted just before this thing started, and he said, "This is going to be a real bladder buster." And I have to agree, that was a monumental event. It was huge.
Probably the longest I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're usually about 2 hours, but this one kept going. But they had a lot of stuff to cover.
They did.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what we'll definitely be talking about tonight is most of the announcements. Will probably even go a little bit longer than usual tonight is my guess, but what an incredible day, because I think, we've all been wondering what's been happening to the product stream, and I think the dam broke today because there was not only a lot of products that were announced that will actually be delivering in the next week or so, but there were also some tantalizing little hints about things that are going to be coming later this year. And I'd say let's probably get started with the iMac and the iMac Pro. And Dennis, I know you did a kind of a roundup of iMac and iMac Pro specs and everything. What was your feeling on that entire thing?
Well, I was really happy, I think like you guys, to hear that I was surprised, first of all, when they sort of kicked things off with the iMac at sort of the center of the focus, because, a lot of people had predicted that we wouldn't see the iMacs until September or October. So I was pleasantly surprised that new iMacs were announced today and start shipping. You can place your order and they should start arriving by next week, if not before. So I was surprised to hear about that. And everything sounded, I liked everything that I heard except one thing, which I didn't hear, but I did check this out later. I am disappointed that the 27-inch model does not have user upgradable RAM.
Boo, hiss.
I know this is the first 27-incher that doesn't have that feature. Now,
and as you wrote, Dennis, no space gray for it.
No space. You can't get it in space gray, but for a lot of people, that won't be as big a deal as the fact that you got to pay Apple for your memory options. And I believe the base configuration is just eight gigabytes. So I think it's an extra $100 for 16. I've got the stats right here. $600 if you want to go up to 32 gigabytes. $1,400 if you want 64. And I know.
Wow.
OWC offer memory a lot less expense than that. So I was actually looking forward to when I ordered one, upgrading the memory myself later. But whatever, I had a sudden thought, well, I better find out for sure that the memory is upgradable. I was sure it was, but I got on the chat line on the Apple support with one of their Apple specialists and asked them, and they said, the exact quote, "No, it's not, but I wish it were."
Oh, interesting. So even one of the employees.
Wish it was.
Well, yeah, I tell you that really surprised me a little bit because I think we were kind of expecting, like you said, September timeframe, something like that, and all of a sudden they're saying, "Hey, we got Kaby Lake, and we've got this, and we've got that, and you can now go up to 64 gigabytes of RAM, and you can, we have faster drives, a lot of improvements." But and Thunderbolt 3, that was kind of a big note there. But finding that out, it was funny because I actually found out about it after the fact. I didn't see your post, but I saw a message that came up from Dean Ingram, who's a local Apple consultant in the Denver area. And Dean was commenting on your post there, and he says, "Why is it that Apple always finds a way to shoot themselves in the foot?" And he's got a point there. That I think that's that's a bad move. Maybe they.
I read somewhere. I haven't verified this. I think I read somewhere that that was going to be the case with the iMac Pro too. That if you whatever memory you order it with is what you get.
Wow. Yeah, and you start looking at that, I think it's 2,666 megahertz DDR4 ECC RAM that they're planning on putting in that machine. And you're talking some expensive RAM that you're going to have to buy right out the chute there. So, like I've recommended to people already, I was talking to somebody earlier this afternoon, and I said, start saving your pennies now. December is 6 months away.
Well, see, I've never ordered one without it. I've always ordered my iMacs with just the standard configuration the Apple comes in. It's
Me too.
Always usually OWC that I order my memory upgrades from. But can't do that this time, evidently.
Yeah, I'd say, and I'll have to talk to some of my contacts over there, but I can't see where they might be real happy about that because, taking all of these third-party vendors kind of out of the picture when it comes to on-device upgrades is, I'm not sure that's really a good move. Maybe we'll see something with the Mac Pro next year, but you have to hand it to Apple about this iMac Pro. Wow. 18 core Xeon processor.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's
huge.
Machine.
And my cat is even commenting on it.
She's agreeing.
I guess we're gonna have him talking again tonight. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Well, I absolutely love the color of the iMac Pro, but I'd love to have it, but it's absolutely overkill. I pegged that price right. My wife and I both watched the broadcast. I said, it's going to start at $49.99. And that's what I hit it on the head. I just happened to, but I missed the price of the speaker, which we'll get to later. I underestimated it by $100. So.
Yeah, I'm like you. I heard it started at least $400 or $500 for the.
Well, no, I guessed $249. I thought they would try to compete more with, Google Play speaker is on sale tonight for $109.
Okay, well, I guess I took the opposite tact. I figured, knowing Apple with the high-end thing, I figured they'd target to the high-end audiophile market and would actually start at like $500. So I was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't any more expensive than it was.
Did you guys notice, like I did, that when they announced the name HomePod, that it was completely silent? There were no cheers, hey, what a great name.
I
Kind
thought
of
the
an
name was
awkward name.
weak. Yeah, awkward's
Yeah.
a good word. Weak, and wouldn't have been my first choice. I thought maybe just, you know, Apple Pod, or Apple speaker or something. But HomePod,
Yeah.
it just didn't strike a chord with me. It was a negative chord.
Well, a HomePod sounds like it could be a lot of different things. That doesn't necessarily make me think of a speaker when I hear HomePod. I don't know what it makes me think of. Maybe something from a science fiction movie.
Yeah, in a very negative way there. Yeah, you think of, what was it?
Invasion
Oh,
of the
man.
Body Snatchers.
Exactly. Yeah. You've got a HomePod, and at night it's going to open up, and the next thing you know, everyone will be, let's not even go down that path. But yeah, price wise, I was actually kind of surprised. I thought 349s for the fact that you've got this 4-inch upward facing woofer, 7 tweeters, each with their own driver, an A8 processor in it, and full Siri support. I thought, really that's not bad. And I think for a lot of Apple fans, yeah, you can go out and you can buy a Amazon Echo Dot like I've got for $35 when they're on sale. But frankly, the music quality or the sound quality out of that thing is horrible. And here we're going to have great sound. We're going to have a very good smart device. So yeah, I think 349's maybe a little high, but it's reasonable.
Yeah. Now, one thing I was surprised too, as long as we're on the iMacs, so one thing I was certainly would see was a standalone keyboard with a touch bar in it. So I find it interesting that such a critter wasn't unleashed today or announced.
They did announce a standalone keyboard today, but just wireless.
With a numeric keypad on it.
Right. That was sort of under the radar. I saw it tweeted later.
Yeah, I gotta wonder if maybe that's what we've all would like to see, which is the keyboard with the touch bar built into it. Maybe that's still under development, and we'll see it this December when the iMac Pro comes out. Because you think about the MacBook Pro, that's definitely got the touch bar. Maybe that's something they're going to announce later on, and they just didn't have it far enough along in development to really show anything.
Well, that's what I think. I think we'll still see one, but I thought we would see it today, but I expect to see it before the end of the year.
Well, I think my biggest good surprise today was the iMacs being available today. I told my wife as we were watching, I said, I expect them in September, October. Mm-hmm. Then when they started showing specs on the screen, I said, it might be this month. Then they said available today. So I went through the buying process just to pull up everything and see. And if I had punched the button, it could have arrived Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And so they have them ready. So we haven't bought yet. We'll probably wait a while, but that's probably going to be our next purchase. Mm-hmm. And I was pleasantly surprised and pleased with the iMacs. We do wish you could upgrade the memory yourself, because I've always done that on computers. And so I'll have to plan accordingly, but knowing what the job is, that's what I'll do. And don't want to venture too far off the subject, but I was a little disappointed. They never even mentioned the words Mac Mini or iPad Mini. So,
yeah, good
I'm afraid
point.
that doesn't bode well.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. There had been some rumors about an iPad Mini 5 that came out over the weekend, I think it was. And it looks like those were totally bogus because we heard nothing at all. And I know there are a lot of people, yourself, and my sister is a perfect example as well. She likes to travel with an iPad Mini because, it's great for having something that's big enough to really watch movies on. And, it's not like lugging around an 8-inch or one of the 9.7-inch models. much lighter, much smaller. I use one, in fact, this guy is probably going to get upgraded to iOS 11 beta tomorrow, but that's my beta machine. I think, it really kind of surprises me that we haven't seen anything there. But, I have to admit, on the other hand, I was really happy to see the focus today on the Pro models. And, we won't see the iMac Pro until December, but on the other hand, we have the iPad Pro coming out now. It'll be available next week. Yes, I did order one because you guys know that it's been a kind of a big deal for me to, use an iPad. The last 2 years, I've used an iPad Pro 12.9 inch as a laptop. And I got to admit, I got down, the last couple of days I was saying, there's no way I'm going to buy another iPad Pro. No way. Absolutely not. I'm not going to do it. But when I saw what they announced in terms of the special features for iPad that are coming in iOS 11, I said, that's what I wanted. That's going to make it easier for me to do those few multitasking things that right now are a pain in the rear end to do. It's going to make them easy enough that hopefully, I'm going to love it. I ordered it, and it was so funny because I ended up ordering it, the Apple Care, plan. Pippin, what? What do you want? Anyway, I ended up doing that, and then I also ordered the smart keyboard for the 10.5 inch. The sad thing is that about 30 minutes after that, I got an email from Logitech, and they said, oh, we're coming out with our keyboard for the 10.5 inch. And that's what I use right now on my iPad Pro, is the Logitech keyboard. And I thought, great, I'm going to go cancel the Apple one. And it was too late. They were already shipping it. Wow. So it's going to be here Wednesday before, I ever even get the iPad Pro. But I'm looking forward to this because I found the 12.9 incher to be almost too large. And I think the 10.5 is going to be a good mix there. It'll be larger than the 9.7 inch screen, a little bit larger keyboard, something that's a little bit closer to what they do have on the 12.9 inch. And boy, I tell you, the specs on that thing are scary fast.
Well,
it was impressive. And yeah, go ahead, Dennis.
Of course, I've always enjoyed my 12.9 iPad Pro, so I'll probably upgrade to the new one. And for the first time, this is one with the new features and the iPad specific features in iOS 11. I'm going to be sort of like Steve. I think this could become my laptop replacement, no more than I use a laptop. So I think it might be the iPad I've long wanted as far as being able to do.
Yeah.
Before, and it's not with Steve, but the multitasking and all that kind of thing, it was just too hard for me to do the things I normally do. It was so much easier on a Mac, but I'm curious to see when iOS 11 gets here and I upgrade the iPad Pro, if that might actually be my portable machine when I'm going to West Tennessee to visit my siblings or going to a meeting at church and taking notes or that kind of thing. So it may happen this time.
Yeah, I had to kind of laugh because I was thinking about, it's almost like it's shipping in a somewhat, crippled format there. But, 3 months from now, I think when iOS 11 does come out and we'll be running on that thing, that should be pretty impressive. But like I said, the specs on it are pretty good. I like the fact that they've got the high gamut screen, the P3 screen. They've got, what were some of the other things? It's running that A10X Fusion chip, which sounds like it's, as they put it, they said this is actually faster than or has better performance, not faster, better performance than most existing laptops on the market right now. And what you're looking at there is a 6-core processor. And what was it, 12-core GPU?
Yep, I think that's right.
That thing's going to be scary amazing. I like the fact that they're able to drive the screen at 120 frames per second for for video or whatever is going to be phenomenal. What were some of the other things? Anyway, it was just...
At least on the large one, you can get it up to a 512 gigabyte hard drive or drive of storage capacity.
Yeah, the small one, the 10.5 came in that also. I ended up getting a 256 because I don't even fill up my 128 now, and I didn't want a 64, so... But the pricing wasn't bad, I don't think, on those either.
No. And I also, just along the same lines, I also found it interesting that, of course, Apple has sort of pushed, excuse me, I think they'll continue to push the iPad Pro as a laptop replacement. But I noticed that the MacBook Pros didn't get a whole lot of mention today.
Yeah, that was really strange because they just said, "Oh, they're all going to Kaby Lake."
I know,
and
hardly mentioned.
And here's the price. Yeah, and it was just like, we're just going to fly over this. Well, maybe they realized that a lot of people would probably be a little upset if they paid a lot of attention to it because they just bought their MacBook Pros, last October or whenever it was?
Yes, it's only been a few months. So,
yeah.
Well, I'm not in the market for an iPad like you two guys, so I'll pass for now, I'm sure, because I don't need an iPad.
Unless it's a mini.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to get one for my wife. Our anniversary is coming up this month, 31 years. So I'd ask her if she was interested in an iPad mini. She loves using a Nook. We bought a Nook, I think 5 years ago on her birthday. And she loves that form factor, about, a little over 7 inches. It's perfect. It's about like a book. You can easily slip it, she can in something. It's not too big. It's got a case for it. And so we were talking about the other day, she was talking about, it would be handy because, all of her Nook and Kindle stuff will come there, all of her iMessages, just everything. Mm-hmm. And so I was dragging my feet for today. I was really hoping there would be iPad Pro Mini. And but that's not going to be. And now I'm wondering if I should go ahead and get one, thinking that they might just someday cycle and drop off because the size is right between everything, and I'm afraid they won't keep supporting it.
I haven't been out to the regular iPad site today. I'm going to go look real quickly here, but I'm wondering if they even showed the Mini on there. Let's see, Mini 4. Still show it? Yeah, they do.
So,
that's strange. Yeah, there it is. Okay.
It's like with the MacBook Air. I really didn't think that. I really thought it would not be upgraded anymore. But they, again, just in passing, they casually mentioned that it would get some, I think, CPU upgrades. So,
it does really seem like they're really focused on Pro here this year. There's more talk of Pro. Mm-hmm. Well, with the MacBooks, iMacs, and machines unseen.
Yeah, I just kind of wish they had. Maybe we'll see that in September. But I hope that they put a little bit more emphasis on some of the less, whatever we want to call them, popular devices. I still look at this Mac Mini server I've got sitting over here, and man, I tell you, it really struggles in some cases. And it's a pretty new Mac Mini, and it was one of the Mac Mini server configurations, and it just struggles. It really has problems. And you would have thought that they would have just said, "Oh yeah, we'll just take the same form factor. We're not going to add anything to it. We'll throw a Kaby Lake processor in there, and life is good." Didn't hear a word.
Yeah, I'm afraid the handwriting's on the wall with that. Who knows? Because it is. I think I have the latest Mac Mini, and it's what, 2014.
Yeah.
So we're looking 3 years. It's not even mentioned. So
Hmm.
I'm afraid it's sunsetting, as they say in the industry.
Well,
No.
when they fool everybody or surprise people, I should say, not fool people, and had a select group of Apple journalists together with Phil Schiller and some of the other execs, and they were talking about the Mac. If I remember correctly, I think they claimed that the Mac Mini was alive and would be updated.
Yeah, you're right. He did say it remains part of our lineup. So you're right, Dennis. I'd forgotten about that. So there's hope.
So maybe September, let's hope,
Yeah,
or October. Maybe they'll have a big rollout of the iMac Pros sometime in November, and at the same thing, they'll say, "Hey, we talked about this iMac Pro, and now here it is, and we're going to give you some more demonstrations of how wonderful it is. Oh, and by the way, we have the new Mac Mini Pro."
Well, I love having like a headless server. And things, and it's perfect for that. It takes up no space to speak of at all. So, not to dash water on a good day, but I will mention, I guess, my biggest disappointment was I thought the iOS update for the iPhone was really lackluster. It was almost a point update to me. I expected a lot of dark mode, maybe some more active widgets, maybe even those active icons we've talked about. This is really probably the first time in years. I was always before chomping at the bit to get the beta or up to get the new version when it came out. But this time, I just don't have that desire to go out and I can't wait to see it and run it. It's great for the iPad. There was a lot for the iPad. I think they focused on that and just seemed a cursory pass on the iPhone. That doesn't seem like a whole version upgrade to me.
Yeah, I think like you said, with the iPad upgrades, we always talk about kind of that melding of iOS and macOS, and you can kind of see that getting a little bit closer here, because now you've got a configurable dock that actually does something that the macOS High Sierra. Were they high when they named it? But anyway, what the dock on that doesn't do, which is to add kind of an active icon down at the bottom that is dependent on either apps that you were using on other devices or what it anticipates you might want to bring up. They finally brought spaces to the iPad, which is going to be helpful. Drag and drop. My one thought during the entire thing was, I feel really, really bad for our friends at Riedel in Ukraine, because a lot of the features that they're talking about in iOS 11 are their products. And for instance, they've got the new Files app that's going to be coming out in iOS 11, and it's going to provide almost like a Finder-like file system for iOS, and the cat's talking again, but almost providing that same capability, and to the point that you're going to be able to have Dropbox, OneDrive, Box, you name it, all under one nice little file system. So pretty cool there. You look at some of the other things, like the fact that the Notes app is going to have a built-in scanner, and that you take a look at ScanBot and also some of the products from Riedel. It's definitely, they're Sherlocking those. They've gone in there, they're doing the same things, but they're doing it a little bit better, I'd say. The fact that you can immediately, once you scan something, go in and mark it up. The markup tools were pretty impressive too. So like I said, I had to feel sorry for Riedel. I've got to think that our good friend Denis Zhadanov is probably one of the most unhappy people around today, and I'd like to chat with him. It'd be interesting to see how he feels about that. But
well, I would like to have some of those features on the iPhone, be able to scan and edit the device. I don't know if any of that will come over or not. But now I know it'll be a great upgrade, but I didn't see any blow me away features for the iPhone. I was looking for dark mode. I did like the control center redesign. That was really nice. And the way they're doing some of the notifications. So it's definitely nice, but I feel like it's definitely an incremental upgrade. I guess it's a sign that iOS is maturing to the point. We're not going to make major wholesale changes. It's really stability and under the hood, which I really like. And so, I am looking forward. If I had a developer's account, I would download it now and put it on my experimental iPad because it would run it. But I don't have a developer's account, so I'll wait for the public beta. But before I forget and we close tonight, I would regret not telling this. My favorite moment of the day, my wife and I both stopped everything we were doing. And my wife caught it first. She saw that they were doing Monument Valley 2. We both downloaded it immediately.
yes,
And and she commented, she said, I'm missing out on what they're saying. I said, I am too. I don't even know. Tim Cook had come back out on stage. I didn't even hear him. I was doing the first level of Monument Valley.
yeah, I downloaded it. Haven't been able to play it yet, but man, I tell you, when I saw that, and they go, and in fact, showing the new App Store, Monument Valley 2, da 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 da, and I went, what?
Yeah, if we have time after a while, I'll do a quick screen share. I've got the first super simple level up, and just
nice.
it's so beautiful. They've done a great job. But the app was $5. My wife bought it. I said, you buy it first, and I'll see if I get it free since we're on the family sharing. Sure enough, I went to buy it. It said free. So that's a good deal. Family sharing is a good thing.
Not bad. That is, I can't wait to play it. I guess I'm going to have to wait until tomorrow because by the time this is done, I'll probably, end up going to sleep or something.
It's not easy days.
Yeah, it was surprisingly busy.
There, it probably won't focus properly, but yeah, there it is on the phone. I think I can get it there.
Oh, yeah.
Screen share. But you can see it's got little stars and things falling. I'm sorry for the glare and everything, but it is beautiful. And the formula that I know it's not good, but the formula that we love. And so,
yeah, you love.
Hints are dropped. I told you before we went live on air that 2 or 3 months ago, there was pictures of Tim Cook being in their studios in England. And I didn't think he was there probably just for a social call. I figured something was afoot, and sure enough, here it was today. So that was my big excitement, Monument Valley.
Yeah, that was a good announcement. And what was the other one? There was an app that they talked about for iPad. I'm going to see if I can find it here, but it's kind of a high-end, whatever the heck you call it, Affinity Photo. There it is. It's a high-end photo editor, and some of the stuff that they were showing with this was just totally amazing. And it supports only iPad Pro, iPad Air 2, and iPad early 2017. Older iPads are not supported, but they were showing some of the capabilities, like being able to go in and how, especially if you want to take like a portrait of a person, you want to take that portrait and you want to put it against a different backdrop, you'll go in and you select that shape. And they were showing how they could actually go in with the Apple Pencil and select individual hairs, or get in and do that using the new Metal 2 engine and some other goodies. So maybe we won't see all that capability until the next set of iPads until iOS 11 is actually out there. But it'll look pretty impressive.
Well, it's on sale now. It was available starting today for, I think it's $19.99. I think it's normally $29.99, but you can get it for $19.99 for whatever the limited time is.
Yeah, that brings up another point. I thought it was kind of interesting that they mentioned twice now that they're going to a different image compression standard, H.265, and I'm just wondering because what the file format is and whether it'll be supported by a lot of the present tools that are out there. I can't remember what they called it, but it's like ECVM or something like that. I'm probably completely wrong on that, but it's going to be kind of interesting to see how the file compatibility with the new camera app is with a lot of the third-party apps out there. They'll have to definitely get things updated.
And they were using the iPad. I thought one of the most impressive demos was the augmented reality when they showed that battle scene on the table. That was overwhelming. Where are games going?
Yeah, I saw that, and it was like, and that's from what was the name of the company? I can't think of it. Anyway, it's something AR, and it's a Peter Jackson company, the guy who did the Lord of the Rings movies, and totally amazing. Like you said, like they were looking at the battlefield, which was the top of the table. And at one point, one of the people falls off the table and onto the floor.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then that Star Wars demo with Darth Vader in the virtual reality, I commented to Ruby, I said, where are games going? We're going to be it's almost holodeck type stuff.
Yeah.
We're getting right in it. And so the Macs are really positioning themselves for powerful gaming and VR.
Yeah, I think the interesting question will be, we always had the folks at Oculus who were saying, we're not going to support Mac because they're not powerful enough. And now you've got, especially with the iMac Pro, you've got computers that probably beat the pants off of most of the top end PCs out there, especially when it comes to creating VR content. So I almost wonder if we'll hear an announcement sometime in the next few months from the Oculus folks saying, well, gosh, we are going to be supporting this. It'd be a good thing for them to do.
And if you're a gamer, of course, we both play World of Warcraft. They use the Metal graphics API. And Metal 2 was announced today, which is, a big plus. So, a lot of geeky announcements today. And that really pleases the pro audience.
Yeah.
So Metal 2 is going to help. I'm actually really looking forward to the macOS upgrade, maybe more than iPhone, because of Metal 2 and the Apple file system's going to be in it. Which is not. Now we've already got that for the iPhone, which I think really did help. One other thing I was sort of surprised we didn't see was some, improvement to FaceTime. I thought there'd be some group calling.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people were expecting. And we didn't see it.
I was just going to say, I'm going to look at one of our slides that I grabbed today, one of the screenshots, had a bunch of the features. They said, we're not talking about these features, but here they are for iOS 11. And some of them were just fascinating. Now I got to see if I can find the doggone thing here. Oh boy, this is going to be difficult because I took way too many screenshots.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah, it was. Let's see. There we've got Air Force One there. Let's see. It was before the HomePod. Well, this may take a while, so you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Well, let me ask you all if y'all noticed something. I thought Phil Schiller's always hardware guy, and he was really focusing on software early. And I thought, well, maybe there's been some reassignments. I don't know if y'all have heard anything or not, but then he hit a little bit on hardware. But anyway.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of nice that they had the that one gentleman, can't think of his name, but anyway, Jawicki, I think it is, last name. but had him do a lot of the Mac goodies simply because I think he's such a, so definitely involved with it. Oh, anyway, I've got that slide now, and some of the features, I like this. We're talking about one-handed zoom in Maps, which I thought you already had. You could do the reverse pinch.
I think I missed that. That's when I downloaded Monument Valley. We did, so I'm sort of zoned out a bit there.
But there was tap to join meetings. This one, I think might be what we were talking about. It's called Business Chat Preview, and I'm thinking that may be the multi-user, whatever the heck you call it, FaceTime. But one feature I thought was really cool is automatic setup, where if you're moving to a new iPhone and you got your old iPhone with you, you basically just take the new iPhone, you focus it on this pattern that looks like the pattern that you get on an Apple Watch when you're linking it, but you just take the camera, you point it at that, and that brings over like all your settings, or at least a great deal of them, over to the new device immediately. So that's going to be impressive. What were some of the other big things? This one I had to laugh at. Flashlight support for iPad Pro 9.7. Really? There's another one called HomeKit Tap to Set Up. So I think what they're doing there is actually building in a NFC capability. There was something down below in this same slide that said NFC reader mode, which is kind of interesting, near field communication. iCloud remote backup. I am not sure what the difference is with between that and the other. 3D touch for lookup. Storage optimization, similar to what we see in macOS right now. QR code support, finally. Screenshot and markup. Flight status in Spotlight and Safari. Screen recording. We'll actually be able to do screen recordings in the app instead of having to, or on the device instead of having to go to a third-party device. Or, another device, I'm sorry, not third party, but like to a Mac. Share URLs with 3D touch and messages. FaceTime live photos, some of the, I'm not sure what they're talking about there. iCloud file sharing, which will finally make iCloud like Dropbox. We'll be able to finally share things with other people, and that I'm really looking forward to. Redesigned podcasts app. Wi-Fi password sharing, where I think you can go in and say, I don't know if that's between devices, or just being able to say, hey, so-and-so, if you want to get onto my home network, here's the password, and be able to share that with them. One-handed keyboard for iPhone, and a bunch of other things. The Siri translation, a lot of good stuff going on. So that was a pretty impressive all-in-one slide that they showed for all of 10 seconds.
Well, I'm glad you got that, because I didn't know some of those points. They're hidden so deeply,
Yeah.
That's the thing, since these operating system updates are still in beta testing. Some things like dark mode and group FaceTime calls could still appear before the finished version gets here.
Yeah, and some things could disappear by the time.
That's happened before. Some things could vanish.
Yeah, that's always depressing when you see something and you go, wow, that is really cool. I can't wait to see that. And then you see it in one or two betas and it disappears.
I think something's going to be big for society is sending payments through messages, just small cash payments.
That was absolutely, well, it was something that I think we all thought was going to happen, but interesting way that they're planning on doing it. If you take a look at some of the other systems that are out there, like Venmo and Square has a payment system, basically you can have it go right into your bank, I think, and that's about it, or right into a PayPal account. PayPal is another way of doing payments like that. Here, it goes into almost like a cash account that you can use to buy apps, buy movies or content or things like that. Or as one of the other capabilities, you can actually take it out and put it into a bank account. But, oh man, that's going to be big. You know, how many times, just being able to go to a garage sale or something and say, hey, you have an iPhone? Here, let me pay you for that. $40, boom. Great.
Yeah, I think it's going to change things, certainly with time. Apple Pay and person to person. And, this doesn't cover anything today, but this proves just to try Apple Pay. I told you we had a handful of places locally that take it. We went into a little dollar store type. It's a chain. It's of course we've got dollar stores everywhere. They don't take Apple Pay, but there's a store called Family Dollar. I think it's based in North Carolina. And I went in, I saw the contactless payment had the little, it wasn't anything about Apple or nothing, but I bought some flowers we did for Memorial Day. And I thought I'll just wave my phone over it. It paid it. It went through and paid with Apple Pay. And the lady at the cash register more or less had never seen that. So I bought something else so she could see it. I bought a couple of packs of M&Ms. She came around where I was just to watch me pay for it. And she was totally impressed. So if you see the little contactless kiosk, give it a try. Apple Pay might work. It did there, and there was absolutely no indication of Apple Pay anywhere.
It's funny that you brought that up. Just after Apple Pay came out, I remember going over to a Home Depot store and I paid with Apple Pay. And at that time, they didn't say that they supported it, but it worked just fine. And this week or last week, I ended up going over to Home Depot twice to pick up flowers and bedding plants and, stuff for the garden. And I noticed that their new readers don't seem to show anything about contactless payment. And I didn't have the time to try because there were long lines. It's after June 1st, so everybody in Colorado is planting their plants finally. And but I didn't have a chance to try it. But I'm going to have to try the next time. Just take the Apple Watch out, give it a try, see what happens.
Well, back to what they announced today, I think it's going to change everything. I almost wonder, maybe y'all correct me, it almost seemed like it will work. You don't necessarily have to have a card associated with your phone, like a bank card or credit card that supports Apple Pay. There's going to be some kind of Apple holding your cash, like, with iTunes account that you can use to send back and forth to each other. That'll put everybody on Apple Pay, even if you don't have a card that supports it.
Yeah, I think they called it the Apple Cash Card or something like that.
So is that the way y'all read it? They'll be just holding your funds and you can transfer them back and forth among people.
Well, I am volunteering today to test this. So when it is available, if all of our users and readers and listeners would like to send me some money, then how well it works.
And you'll write it up. How well.
I don't know how well that's good. I was going to say, I don't know how well that's going to work, Dennis, because we accept Apple Pay for Team AWT donations, and they seem to be few and far between. So I still need to get out there and really try to drum that up again, see if we can get more folks.
I tell them we got new iMacs and iPads to buy. We need money.
It's like, how do you expect us to?
If Steve's going to buy the iMac Pro for all the staff.
No, I wish.
Oh.
No, it's funny. I'm pretty much on a 3-year refresh cycle for my desktop machine, and I don't see any reason to upgrade this year for the iMac, because it still runs really, really fast. I ended up getting the one with the, let's see, what are the specs here? Come on about this up. There we are, 4 gigahertz Intel Core i7, blah, blah, blah. So it still does a pretty darn good job. If anything, maybe I'll throw some additional RAM in it while I can.
And you can't with that one.
Yeah. But to be honest with you, I almost think the iMac Pro is way too much machine for me. I don't do enough, really severe rendering or anything like that to really need that.
As much as I would love it, it's totally overkill. I just absolutely don't need that kind of machine.
It's too fast.
Yeah, I know it's too much.
What are they thinking?
When would we, did we even think 2 weeks ago we'd be saying that about an iMac? It's too much machine for me.
Man, that just, I couldn't, it was funny because as I was watching the specs come up on the screen for that iMac Pro, I just kept going, no way, no way. And they're building it into basically the same shell, some improved cooling built into it, but holy cow, that is a monster machine.
It is.
Yeah.
Most powerful Mac ever until
18
next year.
core Xeon. That's unbelievable.
So, next year's Mac Pro is got to be like 24 or 48 cores, all together. I don't know what they'll be able to do.
I suspect the real difference for the Mac Pro is going to be everything consumer upgradable. Memory, video card. I feel there is a core of people that really want a very modular system.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've always been that type. I love to build my own systems, or always did. But, I'm really at the point now I just need it to work. So.
Well, one thing I thought, once again, this was early in the presentation, and they just kind of just wiped right over it. It was just like boom, and they were on. But when they were talking about the new MacBook Pros, the one thing that they mentioned was that they will have support for external GPUs now. So
right.
all of those chassis that we've been hearing about for the last 2 to 3 weeks, suddenly they're going to be very, very usable for even people who are using MacBook Pros. So that was kind of a good move.
I agree, because on some high-end, or more high-end gaming, you really need the external graphics card. So that's a good move. You can use your laptop, carry it with you, but at home it can be a real powerhouse,
especially for gaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, this is a little bit of a side, but I'd never seen him at any of these things before. But I thought John Turnus, I guess that's how you pronounce his name, which is the vice president of hardware engineering. I thought he did a really good job on the presentations. He was very smooth and polished, and I was just impressed with his delivery.
Yeah, in fact, I thought they had a pretty good group of people today, across the board, and considering they were just doing it click, 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 one thing after another there. I remember some other years where they'd have a demonstration that would just bog down and die.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago, they had, it was the little cars that, they go on a track, and they were using the brains of the iPhone to actually control them. And it went on for way too long, and it was way boring. And it was like, I don't care, get off of this thing right now. And this was really well choreographed. It was extremely fast. In most cases, I'd almost say too fast. But, we didn't want to be sitting there for 4 hours.
Now, who are you talking about, Dennis, that engineer? What did he present?
The iMacs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'd never seen him do one of these presentations before.
No, I had not either.
I had to look him up to say, okay, now who is this? Because I wasn't familiar with him. But in fact, if memory serves me correctly, I popped over to Apple's executive page, and he wasn't even on it. So I'm not familiar with Mr. Turnus, but kudos to him for a job well done today.
Well, one thing we haven't even touched on, since we are approaching close to an hour, watch OS updates.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought of Dennis when I saw it, a lot of workout things.
Well, I have to admit, I think Steve did the write-up on that. I was so busy with the iMacs and everything. I pretty much just read Steve's coverage, so he may be the one to watch. I hadn't really had time to think too much about it. I've been so busy with Mac stuff today.
Yeah, it was a really, really fast presentation on watchOS 4, but I think kind of the big takeaways on that were, once again, they're improving the user interface. I think they keep learning as they go along. And it looks like I may have gotten this wrong, but it looks like they're replacing that, the dock with, kind of I don't know if you want to call it a dock, but where all your apps are,
Yeah.
the little dots that are impossible to look around. Looks like they're replacing that with a scrollable list of items. So that's kind of a cool thing. It might make it harder to find some things because you may be scrolling until you get to the bottom of the list. But I love the new Siri intelligence that they're building in there, where it will be able to kind of, one of the watch faces will actually be able to kind of inform you of things that you need to know at that particular time. So if it knows that every day at 9 a.m. you go out for a run or something like that, it would probably bring up things like weather, maybe, what your goals have been so far that week in activity, different items like that. That's what Siri really needs. Speaking of which, we totally passed on that. Did you guys notice that they have new, more expressive voices that'll be in iOS 10 and macOS High Sierra?
Yeah,
They really sounded good.
Well, they did. And I keep trying to get everything in, but did you also notice how messages are going to sync across every device? If you delete a message, you'll delete everywhere. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very convenient.
Yeah, because sometimes you just don't get that. And
I may have to retract my earlier statement that I wasn't overwhelmed or maybe a little disappointed with what iOS 11 is offering for the phone. I didn't think there was very much, but I guess there's more than I realized when I think about it under the hood. There's not a lot of front-facing feature changes. It's going to look pretty much the same.
yeah,
Mostly, and that's okay. I'm okay with that as long as they get more stability and I see that with every update. I always keep my phone running as long as I can. And right now, since our last update, I think tonight is, let me see, my uptime is 21 days, and it is absolutely not missing a beat. It's just, I think each update gets better and better with that.
yeah. Yeah, I have to laugh. This morning, I finally did the most recent Apple Watch update. So I had a problem the other day where for some reason it just went down to, it was halfway through the day and it was down to nothing in terms of battery life. And I was like, what the heck? So I thought, this is a perfect opportunity. I charged it up, got it above 50%, this morning, ran the update, and haven't noticed anything different there, but it's pretty cool.
That's one of the things I think I like most about Apple is they don't always toot their own horn. They just do good updates of stability and fix some issues, never even mention them. It just works better, and I think that's where we're going to see a lot in iOS 11. And to be honest, a lot of wholesale changes I wouldn't want, but I really want active icons. I want icons that will show the map maybe moving a little and where I'm at and the weather and stuff. Maybe that'll come someday. But they either haven't heard me say it or just didn't pay attention. I think the former.
That's probably
Oh, man. Well, I noticed we're up to an hour here. You guys have any other items you'd like to bring up? Because we could probably go for a little bit longer today. The one thing I wanted to do before we forget to do it is actually talk about our sponsor for this week for Apple World Today. And our sponsor this week is Tick, and you can find them at tickspot.com. Now, no, it's not a little insect that comes off a deer and gives you Lyme disease or anything like that. What Tick is a very straightforward time management app to help you improve your bottom line. It's perfect for solo freelancers or large project teams. Tick provides a way to track time against a budget, capture that time from anywhere using iOS, Apple Watch, and desktop timers, and Android too. You can add Tick to your existing project workflows through integration with literally hundreds of web apps, and get instant feedback on project status at any time. They've got a 30-day free trial of Tick waiting for you today. And once again, that's at tickspot.com. They are our sponsor for the week, and we thank them very much.
Check them out.
Big thumbs up.
You mentioned Android in your promo there. Tim didn't waste any time with jabs at Android, did he?
No, he didn't, but he's got a very good point there. What is it? iOS 10 is up to 86% penetration, and Android was 7%. So, oof.
I've got everything ready, and before we close, I'm going to do just a very super quick screen share because I've got it ready.
Oh,
there's the new Monument Valley.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
It just looks so good. It seems like they have more background things now, of course, the Escher type puzzles. I don't want to give it away for you, but there's 2 characters in this one now. And so it just, it's a game that we all love and have done. And so I like it so well. I just wanted to take a moment to, I want you to see the coming on sequence. They have outdone themselves. Just the Monument Valley there, little logo coming up. That was just a simple little screen that plays to get you to the opening credits.
Nice.
So that'll get you excited and ready to play it. So let me stop sharing there. I just wanted to show that to our audience. I can truthfully say that's probably the best $5 for a game you'll ever spend.
Yeah, the original Monument Valley was one that I started playing it. I worked with it. I just kept going through it until I was finished. And then they brought out the extra levels later on. I think twice they did extra levels for original Monument Valley. And it's a beautiful game. It's a mind bender when you get to some of the higher levels. You'll sit there for hours just going, let's move this. Nope, that didn't do it. How about this? No, that didn't do it.
And it's a casual game. You don't have to stay at it. You're at a level, you need to walk away. You can. It's not things attacking you. It's very calm, very relaxing. And I truly think in my opinion, probably the best iPhone game ever made.
High praise.
I give it big thumbs up there. It's one of my favorites.
It's my wife's favorite, and we both have played everything completely in all of the games. So we're going to be working on it now, just off and on.
Yeah, the one thing I keep hoping for is that the folks who did Alto's Adventure, they've got like 3 or 4 more games that are in the pipeline, but they're not out yet. And I really want to play those. So
They actually showed that game on screen today. Did you notice?
They did?
Yep. They got a little bit of airtime when they were showing the game store. And I actually thought of Dennis because I remember he commented that was one of his favorite games.
Cool. Yeah, Alto's Adventure is great.
I actually bought it because Dennis said that. And it is a good game. But just drive past McDonald's one time, take that and buy Monument Valley.
Yep. Or avoid going to Starbucks.
Yeah. That'll do it, and you'll have some money left over. I tell a lot of my city-dwelling friends, our nearest Starbucks is about 40 miles away. They just fall over. They can't believe it, How do you make it? Well, I've made it all my life just fine.
Yeah. Hey, I was going to, I always say I'm never going to make a political comment on here, but I was really not happy with, one of the announcements today because it was right towards the end. They said, we're going to have a special speaker tomorrow, and I'm not going to mention who the speaker is. You'll all know tomorrow. But the way they brought up the speakers, they said, here's a woman who's probably done more to, kind of bring women, young women into the technical blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, finally, they're going to have Jean McDonald from App Camp for Girls. They're going to have her give a talk. And no, it ended up being a person who has, to be honest with you, not done a damn thing to help out young women to become developers. So I'd much rather see Jean McDonald than I would the person who's going to be speaking tomorrow. So just political commentary there.
I did see the announcement. So, um, but overall, I thought it was a great day, just full of news. And I tell you what, I'm probably going to do whenever we stop this broadcast. I know a lot of developers have already downloaded, and I'm sure they got some demos online of iOS 11. So I cannot justify for me paying $100 by a developer account to play with it for a month because I'll get it, with the public beta here in a few days. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to wait on. Just watch some YouTube videos or let Steve demo it. He may do a video of it.
I intend to load this guy as quick as I can. It's actually available, and this is, I think, a first for a lot of the beta ones that have come out. But they actually are doing it as an over-the-air update, and all you have to do is, as a developer, you go out to the developer site. You get this one specific profile loaded on here, and it says, okay, you can now get iOS 11, and you can download it there. Now, I don't use this for anything but doing beta software, so it's going to be interesting to give it a try. Oh, one other thing I thought of.
You sound just like Tim Cook.
And one more thing. Well, I thought that was interesting. He didn't say one more thing.
One last
thing. But the thing about the HomePod being a HomeKit, whatever you want to call it, almost like a gateway for remote access to your HomeKit devices. That was kind of cool too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely has potential. And my wife and I were talking, just, easily to store. Now, y'all make sure I'm right on this. Your own albums or DVDs that you've ripped into iTunes, you'll be able to access with that. That's the way I understand it, So.
Yeah, they didn't say a lot about that. It was, mainly, it works great with Apple Music because
and it says it should. I thought they said something about your music as well, So, but I may be wrong on that.
Now, Dennis, are you an Apple Music
Yeah, I'm a subscriber.
How much is it again?
$10 a month.
Yeah, I may have to go for it.
If you've never done it, they offer 3 months free.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, you can see if it's for you.
Yeah, the reason I'm thinking about that is the new car, not only do we have CarPlay, but it also has a really decent sound system in it. And I kept thinking, that would really be great for, when we're driving around town or something like that, just to be able, whatever we want to listen to, we can listen to there. And I may do that for 3 months. And I also have a 3-month free subscription to Sirius XM that's built in there. So we used to have XM radio back in the day, and it was great too. But I'm thinking Apple Music might be a little bit more expansive.
Well, I enjoy it. I mean, it gives me a chance to listen to if there's, like I say, if it's an artist I really like, I will probably eventually buy the album and just have it in my personal collection too. But to me, it's a good chance to listen to a lot of new music or things I haven't heard before. And, I listen to some, think, okay, I really like that artist. Or I'll listen to some and say, no, that's really not my cup of tea. But it gives me a chance to taste different flavors of music without, spending extra money on it.
Oops. And for some reason, my live feed has died, but I think it's because I've got the outgoing stream and all the rest of this stuff at the same time here, but it kind of died there. So hopefully it's still going for our viewers. Yeah. So anyway, I think we've kind of hashed all that over, but next week we could possibly have our first iOS 11 demo. Maybe, no, I don't think I'll have the iPad Pro by that point. I'll have the keyboard. I can just show the keyboard.
There you go.
I want to see a show dedicated to your car, the Apple, Play in your car.
I could do it from the car.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Well, actually, I have I have my this guy right here, that's a Ricoh Theta S 360 camera. So we could do not only a live stream, but a live 360 VR stream. So you can, move around. You can look in the back seat, look at the floor.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll really go leading edge one of these days and do that.
Well, we really don't have time, but they touched upon the camera software quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
For various things you can do. And now the iPad's going to have the same camera as the iPhone does currently. So that's something we didn't. There was really a lot of material today. 2 hours, 25 minutes, I think.
Well, and I'll just close with the one last comment from me, but of course they barely touched on tvOS. The only thing they said was Amazon Prime would be coming later this year. To me, I noticed that they did talk a lot about 4K video and HDR quality film, which makes me think that whenever the TVS, whatever the next version is, comes out, I still think we'll see an Apple TV with 4K support before then.
That would be nice. That's when I'll push the button. Haven't pushed the button yet. Someday.
I haven't either, so.
Well, everybody, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. We went a little bit longer than usual, but heck, we had a lot to talk about, some amazing stuff. And as we get into subsequent weeks and we are actually all able to start playing with the betas, I'm sure we're going to have a lot more demos. Definitely get into some of these new features that we'll be playing with forever after September or so. For Apple World Today, I'm Steve Sandy, and guys, you want to say goodbye too?
See you later.
Everybody, I hope you have a good week, and keep coming to the site. We definitely appreciate your visits. Thank you very much. And I need to share this screen. There we go.